I've helped people out in the past open their ports, solved some lag issues for them, even done a few remote desktops where I basically solved issues for them. And it all takes a certain amount of time, and I don't really mind doing it, but it is time I could be using to feed my gaming habits. And I hope this tutorial will work out for everyone's favor, so that people that are interested could learn to do this for themselves, and people that need a reminder can fall back on this and get back going where they were before. And hopefully this tool will get around and link it to your friends, spread it around. More people that know how to do this, I think the experience overall will be better for all of us. So let's get started here. Open a browser, and we're going to log in to our router's homepage, 192.168.1.1, and this is the router login page for just about every router, though I've seen a few models that do it this way, but here we are here. And here comes the authentication required login screen, and most routers have by default admin. A few have it as root, some just leave it blank. Most are admin, and the password by default is sometimes admin, password, sometimes blank. And if you do have default settings like that, I'd recommend that you change this to secure your router, and as well change the wireless security in your router so that your network's secure, because people can just bum off your connection and steal your bandwidth and make you lag online. They could start torrenting and file sharing, and then any lawsuit that comes to fruition from that basically pins it on your IP address, and then you have to go through legal hassles. And I guess worst case scenario, you could have some pedophile just driving around the neighborhood looking for unsecured networks, and there's yours, and he's downloading his kiddie porn, and the FBI's on your doorstep. I mean, I don't mean to be too much of a scare, but those are things that not only can happen but have happened, and securing your network can prevent things from like that from occurring. So let's get started here, and I have the Netgear WNDR37AV rebanded 3700 version 2. And down here, I know there's a lot of things to choose from, but what we're looking for here is port forwarding, port triggering. The Linksys interface should have something very similar to this. It has a different layout, I know. If you can't find it by poking around for a few minutes, then there should be some tutorials on YouTube, or just Google it. And here we go. And here is my Xbox. Here's its IP address that I set as static inside the Xbox. That way there's no conflicts and the ports are always forwarded. It's rather easy to add a port. Yeah, you just name it whatever you want. You get the protocol and you type in the port and your Xbox's static IP address, and you apply. And 37.4 is what's used for Gears of War, Black Ops, Halo. Pretty sure Halo. I don't really pay much attention to a lot of these other games, but most of the games on Xbox Live use this port, and quite a few PC titles do as well. On that note, here are the Xbox Live ports and the protocols that go with it. And down here are some PC ports that I use. If you game on the PC, you might find them useful, and go ahead and use them. Couldn't hurt. The other thing that can affect your experience online is your MTU, and you need to have it optimized. And well, most routers, they come at defaulted at 1500, and most ISPs operate at an optimal MTU of 1500. So I suppose for a lot of people it won't be an issue, but as you can see, for some of us it will be, and it does have an effect on your experience. I'll show you in a minute how to find your optimal MTU, but I'd like to go further and iterate on this, that MTU is Well, you'll have to Google it to really understand it, but basically it an unoptimized MTU will lead to packet loss, and packet loss can lead to bullet sponging, teleportation. Basically, things will sync up better on your screen and as they are happening in the game on the host side with an optimized MTU. And well, let's go find it. Here, mturoute.exe, Google it. German guy's website. This man made this tool, and it's very useful. Very nice of him to do so. And here we go. Open containing folder. Copy. Go to local disk C. Paste it. Already have it there. And press your Windows key. Type in CMD. You'll have that command prompt icon. Press enter on it and just type what I'm typing. We're going to change directory to the C drive where MTU route is. MTU route slash. I use slash dot because that's what was in the original tutorial and it works, so here we go. Alright, it's doing its thing. You'll notice that 1472 is too big. And yet my MTU is 1472, and I'll explain that. You'll notice here that 1444 bytes succeeded, and the reason that is that these are too big and that succeeded is that the MTU, the total MTU, is a number plus 28, so 44 plus 28 equals 72, and that's how you get 1472. See, 1472 here plus 28 is 1500, and that's the maximum MTU size for the networking that we'll be doing. The next thing you want to test out is your equipment itself to see if it's in functioning order, and this isn't the most accurate test or the most thorough, but it does give you a fairly good idea of what shape your equipment's in. We're going to ping the equipment and see its response time. The router, as you can see, 1 millisecond, that's as low as it gets. Under load it'll get to 4 millisecond, 5 millisecond, 6 millisecond, and occasionally, rarely at 14, and that's very good. It could be better, but that's still very good. You're in trouble when basically you want to see 1 millisecond for the majority of the time. If it goes up and down every once in a while, that's fine. It's under load. There's going to be things that happen like that. But if your router is at 16 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds, anywhere above, if it's on the high end just as much as it is on the low end, then you probably need to replace the equipment, the router. And don't call your ISP for a new one, because most ISPs will lease you a $20 router for $5 a month, and it'll be cheaper just to buy a $50 router, and then you'll have a better router and you'll be saving money. And yeah, so you're better off, you'll have a better experience buying your own router, that's for sure. Your next line is your modem, and this is the IP address for my modem. I don't know if it's the same for all modems. I know that there are some modem router combos that combine the devices into one device, and I've heard a lot of bad things about those devices, and I'd recommend buying a router and a modem if you are given that by your ISP, unless you run fiber, in which case you need one of those devices, because fiber is very demanding. So here we go. Modems aren't nearly as robust as routers. It'll be on the higher end more than the lower end. Well, it'll be on the higher end more than a router is. It'll vary a bit more. It won't be as low all the time, but that'll be typical. This is a $60 modem. It works fine. I haven't had any real issues with it. And yeah, I mean, same deal with your router. If you have that kind of issue as you do with the router, then you need to look into replacing the equipment. And you can get a $60 modem off Newegg, and basically all you have to do is call up your ISP, give them the MAC address of the router, which is usually just on the router itself. RTFM, read the fucking manual, basically. It's fairly simple. Yeah, and that's it. You just plug it in, get the cords in the right places, and you're green. It's you don't need you don't need to go to MIT to do that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, there is one more thing I could show you guys. I'm not sure all modems have this kind of access, and the CM100 isn't very good at doing this either. It's rather slow here. But it can give you useful information to see what kind of signal you're getting from your ISP. And oh wow, yeah, taking forever. Basically, here it is. Signal strength. I honestly don't know exactly what these numbers represent. I just know what I've read are good values, and these are all good values. You'll want to do your own reading up on it, because I don't know if it varies from modem to modem. I basically read specifics for my own personal problems, issues, troubles, woes, what have you, and basically got things squared away. And that's one more thing. I'm just pointing out that you could look into this, and that could be something you could use to figure out what's causing your issues. On that note, there is also one more test you can do in command prompt. You can do a trace route. Yeah, whatever website you want. It'll show you how the information is routed through the internet. See, it goes to the router, then it goes here, which is basically a gateway to everywhere else that I would go. And you can see Tennessee, 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 Tennessee. Yeah, see, borrow that. Yeah. And then we go to Texas, Georgia, and it gets longer and longer the further the hops are. And this is good. DSL, you'll have you'll have longer hops, but that's just DSL. Fiber, yeah, that's fiber. Fios Warriors, FU, I'm jealous. But strange things can happen on the internet. If any of you aren't aware, but there's this hacker group called Anonymous that have basically been going bonkers. They hacked the FBI, the CIA. They recently hacked NATO. Yeah, crazy, eh? Like, yeah. But anyways, I think it was in the winter, last winter, there was this 2-week period where they were just going crazy on their own tirade, and one day I was lagging, and then they were basically raping the internet. There was 900 millisecond hops. It was like 700, 800, 900, 600. Just crazy shit. Like I was going over the world twice to come to the place next door. So, I mean, this is a tool that you can use to check to see whether the issue is on your end, in the ISP, or whatnot. So it's a useful tool that can give some sort of peace of mind when you get familiar with it. Well, I hope this guys gave you an idea of what to do, and I hope you got your ports for it at the very least. And, well, yeah, spread it around. The more people that get this information, I think the better our experience will be online, gaming against each other. And I'll see you guys on the battlefield.